Plasencia Alma Fuerte. This is something I've been eyeing for the longest of times, as in when I first started my cigar journey, I didn't want to try much stuff. I was very picky for some strange reason. I started off with just only thinking Cuban cigars are the best cigars in the world, and you would never catch me smoking anything else. I don't know what got me that mentality. I honestly don't know, because that's the dumbest mentality in the world. Now, just being semi-experienced, once I got semi-experienced, it's just dumb. When I first got into cigars, actual cigars, and more of a broader palette, Plasencia was a step to where I'm at today. First, it was Jewel State, then it was Camacho, Davidoff, then I dabbled into Plasencia. I started going towards cigars that looked different. Things that are, you know, they seemed kind of just different. They kind of seemed off. Not your generic circular cigar. I liked the cigars that had vitolas that you can't explain. That was a little phase in my life, and it kind of still is. Having cigars being in shapes like a Salomon, which is unique, a perfecto, stuff in that nature, it appeases to my eyes. I think it looks badass as hell sometimes when you have a cigar that looks like this, because when people think of cigars, they just think of circle. But when you show them stuff like this, or you show them other Salomons or perfectos, or even like blow their minds with stuff like the Liga A that I reviewed a couple months ago, that is when you make the cigar community more interesting and actually enjoyable. Let me just do the deed. Personal backstory with a cigar. This was the very first Plasencia I have ever had in my life. This is the very first cigar that also got me sick. And what do you mean sick? This cigar gave me nicotine sickness. As I told you before, I was used to Cubans. When I started branching out, I went into more of the lighter leaves, Camachos, Connecticut's, Ashtons, Romeo Julietas, Habanos. I didn't really go for anything that's dark, Maduro wise. This was the first ever cigar that I had that was an actual dark leaf. So my dumbass, on an empty stomach, decided to smoke the cigar. So this is my first time revisiting this cigar in maybe 2 years, and I never went back to it. You know, I tried other Plasencias, and I did try the either the octagon press or the 6, whatever you call it. My dumbass forgot to do a cold draw. I just realized that right now. We skipped a key point of a review. Awesome, guys. I'm the best reviewer on the platform. I just got so tired of getting yelled at for talking too much that my brain tricked myself to trick myself. Wow. It's been a minute since I had this, and the flavors are already like very complex. There's definitely coffee. You have leather. Fruits. More like apple. It's like an apple espresso, leather, no spice. There's no pepper or spice into it. It's literally very mild to the retro. Nothing that makes me cringe or, you know, whiplash or anything like that. Very delicious taste to it. The espresso is ever so slight, not very prominent. That leather is really out there. There's a nuttiness to it. Damn, there's a lot of stuff in this cigar. Like, I'm trying to like dissect it because I'm getting coffee, I'm getting earth, I'm getting leather, I'm getting nuttiness, I'm getting some fruity, more like an apple taste to it. So you have all these components, and it's just like I'm trying to find more, and my brain is like separating what I'm tasting. So I identify the coffee, so I'm pushing the coffee away. I identify the apple or the fruit, and I'm pushing that away. I identify the earth, push that away. But there's still some stuff in there that I haven't dissected yet. This by far is one of the most complex cigars I had in a long while. And a little bit of wood. Like something oaky. It's not cedar. It gives the aroma and the taste notes combined. Gives me that feeling when you're at a forest. Especially when it's basically starting to go fall. These complex flavors all together is very delicious. But before I reach the second third, let's get into the information about the cigar. When it comes to the Alma Fuerte line for Plasencia, they come in 3 different Vitolas. But what does Alma Fuerte means? Alma Fuerte means strong soul. The reason why Plasencia made that name was because they truly believe that tobacco growers are the most crucial and most important aspect of the cigars. Yes, you have the master blenders. Yes, you have the rollers, and you have the this, you have the that, you have the company itself. But Plasencia stated that they truly believe the growers are the key to everything, which I believe is true. They are the soul of every company. Any cigar line is out there, the grower is the soul. Because without the grower, if they messed up, too much water, not enough this, that, this, element that, element this, aspect that, then yeah, you will not be having a good cigar. So in honor of the tobacco growers, Plasencia cultivated this cigar line. Brick, you mentioned 3 different Vitolas. Yes, there's 3 different Vitolas, and few of them are actually unique. One is the Salomon, which is a 7x58, but the correct name of the Salomon is Generacion 5 or Generacion V Salomon. Generacion, if you just see the spelling right now on screen, hopefully you can put context clues together, but if not, let me just be Dora for 5 seconds. Using context clue of this word right here. You see this word right here? Generacion. Can you say Generacion? Good. This means generation. Generation 5. Generacion 5. Or Generacion 5. Can you say 5? Shut the fuck up. Anyways, so yeah, that's what this one's called. Generacion 5 Salomon. Then you have something called the Sixto 2, which is a 6x60, but the size is also unique, which is a 6-sided cigar. The reason why they made it into that shape was to replicate a honeycomb design. The last Vitola you have is the Nestor 4, which is a 6 1/4 and 54. So now let's break this baby down even more. Yes, the market value of the cigar is kind of up there. This is a $22 cigar, MSRP wise. What makes it very attractive is that when you buy a box of these, which standard are 10 in a box, so that will make it what, $220 for 10 of these, which, you know, to some people sounds reasonable. Some people are like, that's outrageous, that's a little too much. I get it, I hear both sides, I can hear every side. Once you're done with the box turns into an ashtray. That 220 sounds a little bit more better, right? I have never heard of a box that converts into an ashtray. Like, I understand some boxes could be, you know, humidors when this thing don't matter, all cedar, like the Patron lines. So you can actually store cigars in there as a humidor. So there's, you know, extra benefits when it comes to some cigar boxes. Other boxes are just for display, like the Year of the Dragon I have right here. You know, it's a cool looking box. It has the pull-out drawer and everything, but it's not convenient into actually storing cigars. A box that turns into an ashtray, That's pretty awesome. This cigar released in 2016, and it is a Nicaraguan puro. P-U-R-O, which means it is pure Nicaraguan. The filler that you see right here is Nicaraguan. The wrapper you see right here is Nicaraguan, but from the Jalapa region. And then the binder of the very edge of the cigar, also Nicaraguan. This taste is very unique. I'm trying to like not do the taboo and try to compare, which I try my best not to compare cigars. If you watch all my videos, I never compared one taste of a cigar to another taste of a cigar. No, I may have mentioned other cigars in the video, but I never actually bracket them together when it comes to taste notes. This one is just unique in itself, because typically when I get into a cigar, the first third, some of them could either be a great train of flavor or just a small little sedan of just 3 different notes that just initiates the journey. And it's all fine. Some cars go 0 to 60 in a couple seconds. Some cigars takes a while to hit 60, but once it hits 60, it's enjoyable. This cigar went 0 to 60 in 1.3 seconds. First puff, it was just obviously standard activating, but then things started to just pop out. I mean, coffee, earth, leather, nut, apple, fruit, this, that. So I'm just trying to like, I'm like blown away. So I'm just trying to like take all these notes, things that I'm picturing in my head, and try to ball it up. But it's kind of hard to, because it's just extremely complex, which I'm actually excited for. What the fuck? What? Wait. I'm getting this grittiness of like, I just took a bite out of a steak. I'm getting this like this red meat aspect in this note. What? It feels like hefty. It may be because this is a medium plus cigar. That felt like a full, like I'm actually consuming something. What the hell? I'm trying to envision a plate of like what I'm eating to coincide with what I'm smoking. And what I'm envisioning is like a steak, but it's herb encrusted. So you have a little fruitiness to it. Maybe sound creative. It may sound weird that steaks and apple goes together. Maybe you made like a breadcrumb style thing with apples, combine it with a whole bunch of seasoning and make it into like a breadcrumb. So I'm thinking about like a fruity herb crusted steak with sprinkles of like some pecan, something nutty. On the side, I have a nice cup of coffee, and I have a side that goes with my steak, which is mushroom, which is how I get the earth and the woodsy element. And there's like no spice to it at all. There's no pepper. There's nothing. I don't have any of that. Nowhere near the cigar, because the retro is completely smooth. No burning, no tingling sensation. It is just a straight through retro with no burn. So actually I have a question for you guys. When you first got into cigars, was there ever a cigar that looked very intimidating to you? Typically when you get introduced to cigars, you're introduced between a Robusto to Toro size cigars. That's what you're typically introduced to. That's when you start noticing stuff in this element. Obviously now it's different, but as you guys can see in the thumbnail, you know, it's skinny on top, fat in the bottom, and it has a little spout at the end. When I first saw this, I was intimidated. So, has there ever been a cigar in your infancy of getting into a cigar that intimidates you? Even if you are an intermediate, is there any cigar now that you still feel intimidated about? I want to know. Let me know in the comment section. I'm halfway into the cigar, which I do cut it again because now the jaw is getting a little too hard to basically taste. That's way better. Oh, wait. That's way better. before the draw was like a straw, bars, Eminem coming after your job. Then it just got a little bit more resistance out of nowhere. And I guess because, I mean, the middle part is the most compact part. I'm guessing that was the reason why. Oh my God. That middle section is very fruity. Express was gone. And now it's just overwhelmed with all this nice fruit complexity. You have like dry berries, you have dried fruits, you have hints of spice that's coming in. It's a lot of components. Very creamy too. It's almost like a strawberry cheesecake. But instead of having vanilla wafers as the crumbs in the bottom, replace it with like pecans and nuts, or get like a trail mix. Instead of having like the pretzels and nuts and all the other stuff and M&Ms, do like a nut mix. Like have like almonds and have cashews, pistachios, and other types of peanuts, and then just blend them all together. That's like the underlying of what I'm getting from this. So get like a strawberry cheesecake with that bottom. That whole steak, beefy, meaty element, gone. Now it's very sweet and very dessert style. Look at that ash. Look at the ash, look at the ember. Look at the construction. That is beautiful. It felt like I just had a very hearty meal, and now I'm moving on to dessert. And the dessert is what I specified, a strawberry cheesecake. I'm approaching the last third very soon. So let me just start getting ratings I could get out the way now. That is construction. Construction, I'm gonna give it an 8. And with the 8, the reason why is because it was like a straw. I did 3 cuts because it's very narrow towards the cap of the cigar. This is the cutter I am using, right? This is my Perdomo cutter that I got from Nick Perdomo himself. And it has a back to it. The benefits of the backing is you won't overcut. That is so freaking delicious. And the smoke is so flawless when it comes to the retro. There's no burn, there's no irritation, there's no excessive spice, there's no bombs to it. It's just an overwhelming, I'm like salivating a lot because it's like, it tastes like a dessert. It's like candy in a sense. It's like a dessert, it's like a cake. So I'm like salivating. Like those dogs, like the pit bulls that you see the drool coming from the back of the cheeks. That's what I feel like right now. Look at that. A smoke output from the retro. Beautiful. Oh, okay. I'm getting into the last third. It's a lot more toasty. It's like something charred is in there. Something that's been baking for a little while. I'm not sure if you guys ever been camping, but there's obviously different levels of camping. I'm talking about like authentically camping. Like you starting your own fire and cooking stuff on it. I'm getting this firewood, not like fire cured you get from like KFCs, but I'm getting at this firewood. Very oaky, very sweet, something charred, and bits of like pepper. This is a good cigar. There's a small lingering of pepper that resonates after you're done retroling. It's definitely not tingling, but just a taste aspect. An element where it's like when you eat like something spicy like buffalo hot sauce, it has like this residual sensation you have on your tongue or your lips or just somewhere. That's what I'm getting. Yep. The cigar is very toasty at the end, and that's going to be the final taste notes from it. Let's get into the other ratings of the cigar, the taste and the experience. The experience, I'm gonna go with a solid 8.5. The taste notes are amazing. Going from that very complex combination of 5 to potentially 6 different notes in the beginning, to that middle section getting very dessert style, to then now being toasty and woodsy, oaky, slight spice. I feel like I went to a nice restaurant, had a great steak dinner, had an amazing dessert. I decided to not just go home, but go to a cabin and just enjoy the wildlife and just make my own fire pit and just started roasting, different snacks I could do under the fire, with wood being the prime source of the fire. But the reason why it's 8.5 is because of the blockage that I got towards the middle section. That kind of held back my experience. That one cut could have deconstructed the whole entire cigar and make it a bad experience. That's what kind of scares me sometimes. Future references, if you are going to get the cigar, if you do 2 cuts, do an extra. If you do 3 cuts, maybe do like a 3 cuts and a half, so you won't get the resistance in the middle. Taste notes, I'll give it a solid 9, because the journey this cigar took me, it's memorable. It definitely is memorable. I haven't had a cigar this complex in a very long while, and I'm gonna get another one. I'll definitely smoke another one. This is something I would definitely have as maybe a monthly smoke or every other month. The MSRP is $22. $22, I could definitely get 3, potentially 4 cigars. It's good to spoil yourself sometimes, but for $22, it's worth it. It's definitely a great experience, and a note profile is something you may not have had in a very long while, or just maybe unique 100% to you, or maybe just unique in its own. There's nothing I could think of I could compare this cigar to, but it definitely was a great journey. On that note, guys, I'm gonna finish up my review. This has been the Alma Fuerte Salomon Generacion V. Thank you, Plasencia, for this amazing experience. Until next time, guys, I love your faces, and I'm out. Peace.